Michael Rose, CEO of Mojo Media Labs and founder of Return on Energy. And we're going to begin today's show with Michael. Michael Rose is the founder of Return on Energy and the CEO of Mojo Media Labs, a digital marketing agency, which has become the laboratory for Michael's Return on Energy methodology. A scientist by training, a teacher by nature, and an entrepreneur by will, Michael drew from his life experiences to create a new communication methodology, if I can say that right again, and ultimately his book, ROE Powers ROI, the ultimate way to think and communicate for ridiculous results. Michael notes that with ROE, he's broken the code of business. Michael says, once you adopt ROE and are disciplined enough to put it into practice, it'll change the way you think and communicate, both at a personal level and in your position, whatever that seat might be in any conceivable organization. ROE was developed as the secret sauce of my company. We're going to see what that secret sauce is. Michael, welcome to Playmakers Talk Show.
Thank you for having me.
I mentioned a little bit about your background, but my first question is, how does a biochemist working at Alcon Labs start a digital marketing agency and develop ROE?
Who writes a book on vision on top of that, right?
There you go.
In focus. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I saw how hard my, not just parents, but my grandparents worked for very little return. So when I graduated high school, I decided to do anything but own my own business. So I focused in the completely opposite direction, decided to go pre-med, graduated with a degree in biochemistry, went to work at Alcon Laboratories in the pharmaceutical research area for about 4 years until the E-gene kicked in, when I say the entrepreneurial gene kicked in. So it was really after the first year of law school that I decided to focus on starting my business. So I called my dad in the lab one day and I said, I'm going to start my business. And he goes, what in the world are you thinking? I can't say exactly what he said, but what in the world are you thinking? And from there, just decided to start the business, and first one in my family to go to college, and it's been fun ever since 1997.
1997, so we're looking at about 17 years.
Yes.
You started Mojo Media Labs.
Started Marketing Candy, which is still around today.
Which
in
correct me if
1997.
I'm wrong, but if I looked at the websites, and your wife handles a lot of that, is that correct?
She does, and now I'm back into a family business and enjoying it. But my wife, Nicole, runs Marketing Candy. I run Mojo Media Labs and do a lot of speaking and workshops on ROE.
Well, it sounds like they work together.
They do.
All the businesses work together.
They're very synergistic. When 2007 rolled around in business, 10 years, my passion started to wane. I started getting a little more disengaged. And for an entrepreneur, when you start losing your passion, that's not a good thing. I decided to spin off another company at that time. And in doing so, and splitting Mojo from Marketing Candy, created this methodology, this way we did it. And as a result, ROE was born. Wasn't intended to happen, but the book evolved shortly thereafter, and I found it to be truly my personal passion to communicate about.
I'm looking at your book right now, ROE Powers ROI. So it sounds like ROE, that concept, and starting Mojo Media Labs began about the same time.
They did, actually, and one drove the other. One drove my passion to drive the other, and as you can see from the cover, when you generally look at the logo, you're going to see generally ROI first, and in business, that's what we generally see is the bottom line, and we have a tendency not to focus on the people, the energy, the effort that goes into building a wildly successful business and culture. So for me, when I started to see business through different eyes and start focusing on ROE, the effort, the energy that goes into business, I got my time back and I got my ROI back as well.
Let's talk about Mojo Media Labs, and we'll go into ROE in just a few moments. Tell us about Mojo Media Labs. What do you do for your clients?
Yeah, well, I say that Mojo is my ROE laboratory, kind of going back to my roots. And it's a place that I have always tested the ROE methodology. And in time it comes back verified, not just from the employees, but from our clients and from our suppliers as well. We're very vertically integrated in trying to do good across the board. But ROE has definitely impacted Mojo. Mojo, we call it an inbound marketing agency. So inbound is a new way to do digital marketing. We're a content agency that optimizes content for social promotion. So we also do social media. In addition, though, we use tactics to pull people into the brand. We don't shout through traditional marketing and traditional advertising. So it's a way of using a magnet to people's brand to make an attractive website and turning websites into a lead generation machine that's your number one salesperson.
Speaking of websites, so you know where to get more information about Michael, you can go to mojomedialabs.com. And to get more specific information about ROE, you can go to rmichaelrose.com. You'll get more information there. So you work with a company and you really help them get involved with other people on social media. So you're interacting with them with the inbound marketing.
We do. We are value-added sellers of the HubSpot platform, and HubSpot is shaking the world up in online marketing. They're a big player in the game. We're gold-level partners with HubSpot and just really evangelate the message of inbound marketing in general. But what we do is we tell company stories. We explain timelines, backstories, but when you go to a website, it needs to be very, very attractive. Not sticky, but attractive. And you do that through content. You do that through building a website for the client, not building the website for the company. And as a result, people will engage with that brand, but they go there to educate themselves, to make a buying decision. And we can then use the software and our own methodology to find out when that visitor is close to a buying decision. And then that's when sales should be involved. Otherwise, it becomes a marketing function where we should be benevolent, where we educate people first, not sell them first.
You're talking about engagements, also value added too, to help those clients know what they're getting from that. That then leads to ROE. I want to ask you more about that because that's an interesting concept. Again, the book is ROE, The Ultimate Way to Think and Communicate for Ridiculous Results. And before I forget, can someone purchase this from your website, rmichaelrose.com?
Actually, if you go to, yes, they can, as a matter of fact, and you can go to mojomedialabs.com too, go to my bio page, and there's a free chapter download there. As an example of inbound marketing, I want to educate before I sell. So the free chapter download is available for people to try, but the book is available at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble or 800 CEO Read, wherever you buy your books.
And remember, it's R. Michael Rose, ROE, very easy to remember. But let's talk about that concept because you wrote the book, you do workshops, you teach, you explain, you help your clients with this. What is ROE?
Few people realize that there's three distinct roles in every business, and these roles must be balanced in order to have a very successful business. And those roles I define as simply way one, the visionary, way two, the strategist, and way three, the tactician. And as simple as that sounds, it's very difficult to actually put in practice in many cases. So having the right person sitting in the right seat is critical for success. And as simple, again, as it is, it's directly impacted to return on investment or the bottom line. So what I say is, in business, there's a double bottom line. At the bottom of our P&Ls and our balance sheets, we see the double bottom line. The first line is ROE, the bottom line is ROI. And those two must work together. So if we invest in our people through mentoring and personal and professional development, we'll ultimately get this feedback loop to get better return on investment.
You're talking about three different ways of thinking. Those are difficult for many entrepreneurs. Many entrepreneurs can't think in those three dimensions. As a matter of fact, I had a guest on last week who is the new CEO of a company, and the founder of the company stepped back because he knew he couldn't handle those areas. So do you work with entrepreneurs or CEOs to help wear all three hats or find other people to help with that?
I did not, to be honest with you, know a lot about organizational design, OD, organizational development, before I wrote the book. It's something I learned in the process of writing the book and solving my own pain. And in doing so, I think you're absolutely right. We have built a coaching and consulting program around, first of all, working with a company or individuals to find their passions. Because when your seat and your hat are aligned, that's the day you walk home into your home at the end of the day and said, I had a great day. The day that was great, you're passionate, you're excited, you're ready to go back and do it again, your seat and hat were aligned. So if your passion is a visionary, the idea person, if you like to ideate, if you like to lead, if you're the visionary of the company, then you're the way one thinker. You think like the way one. That's where you're most passionate about. And when that seat aligns to that hat, then that was the great day. The day that was not so great, that's where you were either sitting in a strategy role or a tactics role. And that's where the seats you need to hire people to fill and surround yourself with. So you can spend time that's more aligned to your passions.
Well, to base what you're saying on, again, ROE, the ultimate way to think and communicate for ridiculous results, this book is really on communication. When you're talking about engagement, that's really the communication that's going back and forth between you and your employees.
Yeah, I had to write the book for myself. I'm not a natural leader, and because of that, I needed some type of framework to help me. And I grew up in a small business that struggled, and I have a biochemistry degree. What do I know about business or leadership, for that matter? So I needed that framework, that crutch, to help me. So it is absolutely a communication platform. And the number one stress in business today is we're not communicating clearly enough inside the workplace, much less externally. So if we know how we're thinking, how we're communicating internally, then we can connect people to the right results. And it's been a game changer for us internally. People come up to me all the time now internally and say, hey, you're micromanaging, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. And quickly, it's a way to disagree without being disagreeable, because we can point to the problem or the challenge in a methodology and not be so finger pointing back and forth.
And as you talked about communication, you also used the word connect too. Not only you're increasing that communication, but also the connection between people so they understand each other.
Connection between people, but also connecting people to a company. We break down all the business buzzwords. If you want to think inside the box or outside the box, if you want to be at 52,000 feet or in the weeds, if you want to connect through brainstorming or bouncing an idea off of, these are the buzzwords we break apart, and we really decode them using this communication methodology. And as a result, it starts to create questions in a company that people need to answer in order to be effective. Why, how, what is another big one. So they're building a cathedral in Milan, for example, and they ask the bricklayer, what are you doing? And he's building a brick wall. They ask the next bricklayer, what are you doing? And he's building a cathedral. One bricklayer could know why they were doing what they were doing. And if employees know why they're doing what they're doing, it changes the game. But that forces companies to start asking the questions, what are our core values? What's our mission? What's our purpose? What's our why? Starbucks has the best why in the world, and it's not community. That's their strategy. Their why is to be the third place, that place between home and work. When you walk into your home, when you walk into your work, you're generally greeted by your name. What's written on the Starbucks cup? Your name. So all their tactics, all their strategies are going in the right direction to exercise, to live out their why.
Michael Rose is the author of ROE, The Ultimate Way to Think and Communicate for Ridiculous Results, which also is a part of his company, which is Mojo Media Labs, and they go together. They were developed together. So you can check it out at mojomedialabs.com, also rmichaelrose.com. Michael, thank you very much for being on Playmakers Talk Show.
Thank you so much for having me.